Welcome to Qui Bono. I'm Mark. Let's dig in.
When you hear people talk about AI, it feels like the conversation always splits into two extremes. Either it's this amazing utopia or it's an absolute world-ending disaster. But what if the real path forward isn't one or the other? What if it's a journey through both? Today, we're going to dive into the unified vision of Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei, by pulling together his key ideas to map out a single, coherent journey for all of us. So this is the classic question, right? Is AI this incredible engine for progress, or is it a genuine existential threat? The whole debate usually tries to force you to pick a side. But Amodei? He sees it totally differently. He argues it's not about choosing between the two. Instead, it's a linear path from one straight into the other. The very engine that creates all this incredible progress is the same thing that creates the threat. A threat we then have to navigate to get to a better future. The way he frames this whole thing is with this really powerful idea, a compressed evolutionary arc. Just imagine humanity and all our technology going through thousands, maybe millions of years of evolution, but crammed into just a few decades. It's an incredibly fast, and because of that speed, an incredibly dangerous period of growth. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Act 1. This is where the journey really gets rolling, with the creation of an AI that acts as a massive, massive catalyst for human progress. The core concept here is something he calls the universal labor multiplier. And look, we're not just talking about a slightly faster computer. Imagine an AI agent that can perform at the level of a top-tier human expert, but in every single cognitive field, all at the same time. A brilliant scientist, a genius engineer, a master strategist, all rolled into one. And the sheer scale of this, it's just staggering. He's suggesting this could lead to something like a 10-to-1 compression of time. We could see an entire century's worth of scientific and technological breakthroughs packed into just one decade. And this is where it all stops being abstract and gets real. We're not talking about some vague notion of progress. We're talking about being able to coordinate thousands of massive clinical trials at once, or design brand new materials from the atom up, or run biological simulations so complex they're completely impossible today. But what's absolutely crucial here is that it just shatters the old bottleneck, the limited number of human experts working on one problem at a time. This thing parallelizes the creation of knowledge itself. But all that incredible speed, it comes with a massive price tag. Which brings us to Act 2. And how this engine of progress inevitably kicks off a period of immense danger, what Amodei calls the adolescence of technology. And this right here, this is the heart of the problem, the power-wisdom gap. On one hand, you've got this godlike technological power that's just growing exponentially, and on the other hand, us, our own minds and our institutions which, as Amodei puts it, are still running on Paleolithic instincts, tribal, slow to adapt, and frankly, pretty fragile. It's a recipe for disaster. So what happens when you have that gap? You get a world that is just, too fast to govern. Think about it. Economic systems could shift literally overnight. The potential for autonomous weapons becomes real. The very idea of truth could be completely eroded by deepfakes. Our whole system, it just wasn't built for this kind of speed. The engine's velocity is what creates the crisis. So, are we just helpless passengers on this runaway train? Not at all, according to Amodei. And this brings us to the most critical turning point in the entire journey, Act 3, the Crossroads of Agency. This is where we come in. This is where our choices matter more than anything. So is it all just inevitable? Is our future already written? Amodei's answer is a hard no. He completely rejects determinism. He argues that this crisis phase is precisely the moment where the outcome is not guaranteed. It's the moment we have to step in and actively, deliberately steer the ship. Our collective agency is the one thing that decides what happens next. So, how do we steer? The main strategy he proposes is something he calls a defensive bias. It really just means making a conscious, collective choice to pour our time, our money, and our brain power into technologies that create stability. Things like AI for cybersecurity or for pandemic prediction, while we actively slow walk the development of technologies that are inherently destabilizing. So look, getting through this isn't about getting lucky. It's a deliberate process. First, we all have to just admit that the crisis is real, that the power-wisdom gap is a thing. Second, we have to actually choose that defensive bias. And number three, and this one is an absolute deal breaker, we have to solve AI alignment. We have to make absolutely sure these incredibly powerful systems understand and pursue our true goals. It's not just some technical puzzle. It's the moral bridge we have to cross to get to the next stage. Okay, so what if we do it? What if we actually navigate this storm through our own deliberate actions? Well, that brings us to the final act of this incredible journey, the destination Amodei calls a world of loving grace. I mean, the payoff for getting this right, it's almost hard to imagine. We're talking about the near total elimination of infectious diseases. We're talking about making huge progress against things like cancer and Alzheimer's, maybe even doubling our healthy lifespan. This is a world where automation has ended scarcity, freeing all of us from endless toil, and letting us focus on connection, on creativity, on nature. And that phrase, machines of loving grace, it's so perfect, right? It's not some cold, sterile, robotic future. It suggests a world where our technology is so perfectly aligned with our deepest values that it just fades into the background, becoming this silent, graceful, supportive force for human flourishing. It serves us. Okay. Let's put it all together. Let's recap the whole journey, because when you see all 4 acts in a row, the real power of Amodei's argument just clicks into place. This lays it out perfectly. First, we build this incredible capacity. That capacity inevitably leads to a destabilizing crisis. That crisis then forces us to exercise our agency, to make a deliberate choice to survive. And if we succeed, we achieve that utopian state of grace. See? You can't just skip to the end. You have to go through that messy, dangerous middle part. So, what's the big takeaway here? At the end of the day, it's this. This coming period of danger and instability, it isn't a sign that we've failed or that we should just pull the plug. It is a necessary and frankly terrifying rite of passage. It's a gauntlet that we have to run through to reach whatever's on the other side. And all of this leaves us with one final, really urgent question. Amodei has laid out a map for the journey ahead. He's shown us the path from the engine through the storm all the way to a world of grace. We have the map. The real question is, do we have the collective will to actually follow it?
Thanks for watching. If this was useful, please subscribe for more.